This is video number 3 in the process of me taking the polyurethane off of this guitar. If you've been around the channel and you're familiar with this project, I will spare you the details, but if you're new, I would encourage you to click on the link in the upper part of the screen or down below. It's going to take you to a playlist with all sorts of videos dealing with the modification of this guitar. The very first one is sort of an overview so that you can get a big picture idea. Bottom line, I bought this guitar used for about $530. It is actually an Epiphone 335 figure top and raspberry burst. Obviously it doesn't look like that anymore, and that's because I've stripped the polyurethane off of it, as we're going to discuss further in this video, and finished it in an olive drab nitrocellulose green, similar to the Chris Cornell Gibson signature model. By the end of this video, you'll have seen me strip the entire finish off the front of the guitar, which had some obstacles such as the F-holes and the pickup cavities. Prior to that, I had done the entire back of the guitar, and before that, I had done some experimenting with trying to figure out how exactly I was going to do it. And that is all you need to know up to this point. So I was about to start on the front, but then I had the thought that all the paint chips are probably going to go down into these cavities. So I was thinking I could stuff some rags down in there or some paper towels, but I run the risk of them catching fire or melting with the heat gun. But I do have this attachment for a vacuum cleaner that fits down into these F-holes, and I can kind of wiggle it around a little bit, suck some of that out. So I think it's just inevitable that for the paint stripping, I'm not really going to be able to block off these holes that go down into the guitar. However, when I do paint the guitar, I don't want paint going down in there. So I'm going to probably take something like this, just a paper towel, and shove it down in the hole like so, get it down, you know, to where paint can go around it, but not get down in there. Let me zoom in a little bit better. So something like that. In the future, I'll do that when I actually paint the guitar. I'll shove some of that down in here in the F-holes and then plug up these holes that lead to the inside of the guitar. That's my plan anyway, my thinking as of now. But yeah, for the paint stripping, I think it's just going to have to, you know, all the chips are going to go down in there, and I'm going to have to somehow get them out with the vacuum cleaner or shake it out. And it may be difficult, but I don't really see any way around it. Well, I lied. I'm at least going to try this method first. I think it's going to save me a lot of headache from trying to chase down little pieces of paint and clear coat that gets all in these cavities. So hopefully this will, you know, just collect, and I don't think these things are going to melt. I'll just try to keep the heat gun far enough away. And yeah, I'm just going to give it a whirl, see what happens. If it's a problem, I can always take them out and go the other route. Okay, I probably need to address some things here. Obviously, there's a burn mark there. I was kind of learning as I was going, but I was using the scraper coming this way. And as I was running the risk of slipping and jabbing into this side of the F-hole. And I actually did that, I think, early on. I was over here and slipped. And I didn't think I did anything, but I did kind of dig into right there, if you can see that, sort of into the wood, and then it peeled up a little bit right there, but I was able to kind of save it and not make it any worse. And then on the paint inside the F-hole here, this is chipping away with the heat. I just probably no way around it. So I'll have to kind of smooth that out, shave it off or sand it down and repaint it, I think, in the end. I don't know what kind of paint to use, maybe just some black acrylic, but I'll figure that out when I come to it. And then on the back as well as the front here, sometimes my paint scraper gets a little bit chippy, I guess, or I get too careless or I don't know, but it's hard not to do. Sometimes the scraper kind of digs into the wood a little bit. And so I've got these small sort of divots, or I guess kind of cuts in the wood that, and I think I talked about this before, but I'm probably gonna have to go in with like wood filler or something and fill those in, sand it down back smooth. So yeah, thankfully, of course, I'm not trying to do some kind of burst transparent finish because these burn marks seem to be inevitable unless you are an absolute pro and careful to the max, but it's not gonna happen. And obviously I don't really care because I'm going for a solid color. But I just want to share some things that I've encountered. So yeah, I learned with the F-hole to go this way, along parallel to the F-hole, so that way there's less of a risk of slipping. And like I said, just jabbing into the wood there and splintering it or separating those laminate pieces. So just something I've learned in the last little bit here, I wanted to share. Oh, and also I did not put any kind of paper towel down in this hole. So I think the heat gun has blown some of the shavings down into that corner in there. So there goes my theory with saving some time with the paper towels. I guess I still could put something in there to make it not as worse as I go. So I might do that. Well, I didn't have the camera on the whole time, but as you can see, I've got about half or more of the top done here. I was really happy with the fact that over here where the body meets the neck, I was able to, get that off with no damage to the binding. My fear is just, always with the binding, melting it or something. And I may have done that. I think I pointed that out on the back in a little spot that I might have to address. We do still have all these little tiny, kind of nicks in the top of the body. I'm gonna figure that out, like I said. But for now, I'm just going to turn the camera back on just so you have an idea of, just more work getting this off, because I just want to show as much of that as possible. Like I've said before, I haven't seen a lot of this on YouTube. So I just want to be transparent in how it goes, what it looks like, and all that. And now I'm going to attempt to vacuum out the polyurethane chips from all these crevices. Well, I ended up turning the camera off instead of on when I meant to, so I missed me pulling out all these pieces of paper towel from the tone and volume pots and all that stuff, but you didn't miss too much. I will try to capture me getting the rest of the pieces out of the F-holes as best I can. So here goes nothing. So did I get all the pieces out? No, I took it off the jig here and then off camera, turned it upside down, shook it, and it was just raining like little particles of polyurethane finish and all that onto the floor. So if I shake it now, yeah, wow, I think something just flew out there. Yeah, so there's pieces in there now. I'll continue to work it, turn it upside down, shake it, vacuum it as much as I can. Honestly, I've got to do some finishing or some sanding on top of, you know, the back and sides and all this, because, for example, like here's a burn mark, but this right here is just sort of a patch of the sanding sealer that's still left, and I can feel it. You know, it's like a rough spot. Over here is another spot. And so if I run my fingers over it, I can see it sometimes, and then sometimes I can feel it. So I'm going to have to address that. I probably will sand it down, go back, maybe fill in some spots that are not too good, some maybe bigger gouges with wood filler, and then sand it back down again. Maybe end up putting sanding sealer on it just to make sure I capture all the little crevices and dips and dings that I put in it. So that's going to be a whole nother topic, subject, adventure. But for now, at least I've got all the finish off the back and the front. I obviously have the sides left and the back of the neck, headstock, all that jazz. But I'm feeling good. I'm in a good spot. No damage or really bad damage or anything. So for now, pretty pleased.